Philip, see around, coach here. Wonderful. And the entire team just want to thank each and every one of you immensely for putting this together. As my brother, Mr. Fombu, just said, it feels like one of the happiest days in my life. Because for one of the first times in our lives here in Austin, we've decided to take our destinies in our hands. Yes. Right? And I want you to just turn to the person next to you and say, I feel blessed today. It's an awesome day to be alive. Can we do that? Say, I feel blessed today. It's an awesome day to be alive. And to that same person, say, you are enough. You are enough. Wonderful. As you can see, I took some time and I prepared and I tried to put together some talking points to come and talk with you. But immediately I walked through the door, I looked at everybody looking like $1 million after taxes. I told myself, you know, I cannot talk to each and every one of you as if I'm coming from somewhere else. I'm either part of the problem or part of the solution. Are we together?
Oh, yes.
Wonderful. So it's a great, great, great honor to be here present today. And I'll just go through a few points in 15 minutes. And in those 15 minutes, please, bear with me. I want to talk to you today about the will to win. Right? The will to win. I remember in 1965, President JFK Kennedy, he made a very bold statement in May of that year. And he said, by the end of this decade, an American will find himself in the moon and back safely to their family to have dinner. And what would a leader like that do in the natural circumstances as such? He called all the most intelligent people he knew about. The best professors from Harvard University, the greatest high technology rocket scientists from MIT, and he put them in a room. And he told them, I'm the president of the greatest nation on earth. I've made a commitment I'm worried I might not be able to keep. Help me out. What do we need to do to make it to the moon and back safely? And the chief engineer thought it for a few minutes, and he looked up to him, and he said, Mr. President, the will to win. This is a guy who has double PhD, top of his class in MIT and Harvard. And he didn't talk about fuselages. My friend Fu Pascal is a scientist, you know what fuselages are. He didn't talk about rockets. He didn't talk about propellers. He talked about the human will to win. And today that is what we are here all about. The will to win. How can we help ourselves through GWB to become winners? I was reading a statistic a few years ago. It says an average dollar in America spent 32 days in the Chinese community. It spent about 42 days in the North Indian community. And in our black community, it spent 6 hours. Hallelujah. So we take it and we give it out. Theo said something a few minutes ago, we almost buy and we're going to buy. Whether we like it or not, I'll be at the door. 6'4", 260 pounds, don't joke. Are we together?
Yeah.
So wonderful. So today, I just want to talk about a few things that are important, I believe. 88% of African-born populations, 25 and older in this country, have a high school diploma. African immigrants obtain a diploma at a rate of 2 times US-born whites and 4 times our brothers and sisters from our continent. 48% of African immigrants hold a college diploma. 20% of all adult African immigrants in the US hold a graduate degree. The question I ask each and every one of you tonight, why aren't we great? Why aren't we significant? What is it that we need to do to make sure we are counted amongst the people who make things happen in this country? Because we deserve a piece of the cake in this country, right? And a few things came to mind. The first thing we need to propel ourselves to that level of excellence, we must challenge ourselves to build and bequeath a community legacy. I'm not talking about an individual legacy, because as individuals we are successful at the different things we do. If we came to America at the time most of us were coming, and our dream was maybe make a 6-figure income, buy a home, marry a wife, have kids, buy a beautiful car. God, we've already done it, so what else is there? What else do we need to do? How do we make ourselves significant? as a community of people who can be respected and come to at times of need and at times of respect. A few weeks ago, in the Cameroon community, we have something called the Veteran Soccer Tournament. It's a tournament that brings people 35 years and older. And every year in September, what was it, Memorial Weekend or Labor Day weekend? In September, the last holiday that passed, Memorial. In Memorial Weekend, every year they come together, 32 teams from different states in America. We were in Houston 2 weeks ago. And that event brought together close to 5,000 people. And the mayor of Houston opened the event and closed the event. And I asked the leaders of the group, I said, you brought together 5,000 Cameroonians and Africans. The mayor of Houston sees the dream. Houston is the fourth largest city in America. The economy of Houston is the 10th largest economy in the world. And this guy walks and comes to open this event and close the event. Does it mean he sees something we don't see? Is that what we're saying? I said, what are we going to do with this mass potential, this mass capability? And I believe very strongly that GWB is building something that is going to get us to that place of significance. The next thing I want to talk about is believing in the possibility of a unified vision. A vision that each and every one of us can believe in. The next point I want to make, very important, is how do we build trust amongst ourselves as a people. One of the big challenges I face every time I go around talking hundreds of different organizations, because I do this out of passion, I do this out of calling, and of course you can never do this and come back home empty pocket and the wife is happy, so you got it. Are we together? And I do this for a living too. And I go to a lot of different African communities. In Boston, in Florida, in Wisconsin, out in Frankfurt, Germany, in London, England, in Brussels, Belgium. And one of the things that always come up is to trust each other. And one of the things, when I dig a little deeper, I'm made to understand one or two mistakes or two missteps is a complete verdict on our lives. Show me a community that haven't made mistakes. Show me a community whose leaders haven't done and made decisions that were not right. But show me a community who decided to believe in a unified vision. A dream that is possible for each and every one to contribute in their own small way to make that difference last and last for a long time. I've lived in the city of Austin. I live in Liberty Hill. But I've lived in the area for 7 years now. I moved in 2014. And the changes that have happened to this city, it's unbelievable. I built a little house out there in Liberty Hill 4 years ago, and it cost me $364,000. And the last 4 months, I've been getting calls non-stop from realtors like Theo trying to buy it for $700,000. And I'm asking myself, what is going on? Do we understand what is happening in this place? Do we know what is going on in this country? I go to bed at night sometimes and I tell God, forgive me, because there's no heaven, this is heaven. There's no country like America. This is the only country where our brothers can come in. Like my brother over there, all the way from Achu in Cameroon. Young boy grew up walking on food, carrying water, no light, no water. And a few years later in this country, he has a trucking business, helping people to become millionaires, and he becoming a millionaire by himself.
Amen.
There is a reason why America is called a capitalist economy. Under God, yes. When money speaks. Let's not bullshit ourselves. Money works. I remember one time about 10 years ago, I came to America in the year 2000. I became a nurse. 7 years later, I decided to go down to the University of California in Berkeley. And I did a program in business. Immediately I finished, 2 days later, I went back to Africa to do business. Cameroon, Nigeria, Congo, 3 years. Things didn't work out as I wished. I was broke. I was beaten. I was angry. I landed back at the airport with $600 in my pocket. And the immigration officer looked at my passport and my green card and told me I overstayed my green card. I have to pay $677 for penalty. I had to call my wife to leave the car outside and find a way to come in with $70 to add on the $600. Right? And I got back And I got exposed to the IT industry, and that's where I started. And it gave me a chance to be able to explore my other potential, which involves speaking to you today. But the one thing I learned during that process is that when it's possible, but most importantly, when you believe that it's possible, it's going to happen. We come from a continent that have been trained unconsciously to be resilient. By the time most of us were 5, 6 years old, we used to take 10 miles to walk to school and back and take care of your younger ones. Sense of responsibility, sense of leadership, sense of community belonging, sense of the ability to fight for a better future. If I ask each and every one of us here, we have different stories how we came to America. Some came through 13 countries on food, through water. Some came in containers. Some came by the power just of the Almighty saving their life from being eaten by crocodiles in Ecuador. And we sit today on the greatest opportunity we've ever seen to come together as a people and make sure by any means possible, if it's not the greatest for us, it should be better for our children. Amen. I believe very strongly, please. I believe very strongly that among our children in this generation of African immigrants in this country, amongst our children, we have a president of this country. Absolutely. I have no doubt in my mind. I say this with pure conviction because I know, and I go around and I talk to young children, they have children. I talk to them. I see the structure they have, the inspiration they have. All we need to do as parents and as GWB is to show them the way. Give them a reason to aspire to something bigger than themselves. Because we live in a country where a lot of times we talk about my doctor, my pharmacist, my lawyer, not our doctor. So what GWB is doing today, I believe it's an opportunity every African in Austin has to belong.
Not only Austin.
All right, for a start. The third thing we need to do to develop the will to win is to build and sustain a must-do resolve. Note, I didn't say can do. Did anyone notice that? I said must do. Can is an option. Must, you don't have an option. We don't have no option. We must do it. We must do it. We must build a foundation and a structure and a platform on which the day we are walking out, our children are already managing GWB, and GWB will be recognized in the world the way they carry it. I didn't talk about just build, I talk about resolve. Resolve means decide firmly on the course of action. Sustaining a resolve. Sustain means strengthen or support physically or mentally. Sustain can also mean undergo suffering. Nobody says it's going to be easy to build trust. Nobody says it's going to be easy to rally ourselves under the same vision. But all I'm here to say, with my bald head, 6'4", 260 pounds, born in the northwestern region of Cameroon in a little town called Bamenda, is that it's possible. We must develop the will to win. Ladies and gentlemen, I will close with a very, very simple story for you. You know, there is a plant called the Chinese bamboo tree. And the Chinese bamboo tree starts off with a seed, with a hard case around the seed. And the requirement to grow the Chinese bamboo tree is that you dig the ground, you nurture the soil to be soft, and you plant the Chinese bamboo tree. But here's the kicker about the Chinese bamboo tree. You have to keep watering and nurturing the soil and that seed for 5 years. I can imagine if I get up every morning and I go to a bare piece of land and I'm watching every day, my neighbors will look at me by the 10th month and they'll go, this guy's crazy. What are you doing? You're watering land For 3 months, nothing is happening. But here's the good news. After 5 years, when the tree sprouts from the ground, within 6 weeks, it's 90 feet tall. Hallelujah. We are now in the stage where the bamboo tree has been planted. We are watching that seed. We are tilling the land. We are adding some manure to it. We keep watching. And our neighbors are asking themselves, what are these guys doing? They're watering a bare piece of land. It's been 3 years, so we keep watering. It might be 3 years. It might be 4 years. It might be 5 years. But the day we sprout through the ground, will be 90 feet tall. God bless you all. God bless GWB.
Wow, that was inspiring. Man, I want to be, when I grow up, to be like Gustav, to be able to speak with wisdom and confidence. So we're very grateful for you, Gustav. Thank you so much for sharing your integrity and your